Leadership is not about titles. It's not about rank. It's not about standing on the podium and demanding respect. True leadership, real leadership, starts with humility, the willingness to listen, the ability to admit when you're wrong, the discipline to put the mission and the team above your own ego. Humility doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger, because the leader who thinks they know it all will eventually fail. But the leader who stays humble, who keeps learning, who listens more than they talk, that leader earns trust, builds respect, and wins. This is the power of humility in leadership. Ego blinds, humility sees. Ego is the silent enemy of every leader. It whispers that you are right when you are wrong, that you know enough when you don't, that others should listen, but you should never listen back. Ego convinces you that leadership is about proving yourself, about dominating, about making sure everyone knows you are in charge. And when ego takes control, vision narrows. You only see yourself. You stop seeing your team. You stop seeing the bigger picture. You stop seeing the truth. Ego blinds. A leader consumed by ego cannot accept feedback. They shut down ideas before they are even spoken. They take criticism as an attack instead of a chance to improve. They make every decision a reflection of themselves instead of the mission. The battlefield, the business world, life itself, they punish ego-driven leaders. Why? Because reality does not bend to ego. Reality demands adaptability. Reality requires leaders who can admit they are wrong, who can listen to the smallest voice in the room if that voice carries wisdom. But ego silences those voices. Ego blinds leaders to the fact that strength is not found in arrogance. Strength is found in humility. Humility is what opens your eyes. It allows you to see the gaps in your own knowledge. It forces you to acknowledge that you don't know everything, and that's not weakness. That's power. Because once you recognize your blind spots, you can fill them. You can seek counsel. You can leverage the strengths of the people around you. Humility turns leadership from a one-man show into a collective effort where everyone contributes, where everyone matters, where the team, not the leader's pride, drives success. When a leader carries humility, they listen more than they talk. They ask questions instead of giving orders. They search for truth, not validation. That mindset changes everything. People follow leaders they trust, and trust is not built by ego. Trust is built by a leader willing to say, I was wrong. Let's fix this. Trust is built by the leader who admits mistakes and owns them instead of pointing fingers at the team. Trust is built when leaders show vulnerability, not as weakness, but as authenticity. Humility also provides clarity in decision making. When ego is in control, decisions are clouded by the desire to look good, to avoid embarrassment, to protect pride. That kind of decision making leads to reckless choices. Humility clears the fog. It forces the leader to put aside personal feelings and ask what is best for the mission, what serves the team, what leads us to victory. With humility, the answers become visible. Without it, you are walking blind through a battlefield. Humility also keeps growth alive. Ego says, I've made it. I've learned enough. Humility says, there is always more to learn. And that hunger to keep learning, that's what separates great leaders from average ones. The humble leader reads, listens, studies, and evolves. They seek mentors. They seek challenges. They seek ways to improve. The ego-driven leader may rise quickly, but they plateau. The humble leader never stops climbing. Most importantly, humility strengthens relationships within the team. Ego creates distance. It puts the leader on a pedestal, untouchable, unapproachable. Humility breaks that barrier. It shows the team that their leader is human, that they can speak up, that they can contribute without fear of rejection. It builds a culture where respect flows both ways. Leaders who see with humility recognize the potential in their people, encourage it, and develop it. They do not fear being overshadowed by talent on their team. They welcome it because they know that the mission comes first, and when the team grows stronger, the leader succeeds as well. Ego blinds, humility sees. One traps you in arrogance, the other frees you to lead with vision, awareness, and truth. Leaders listen before they speak. Listening is not passive. It is not silence born from weakness. It is an active discipline, a choice that separates strong leaders from self-centered ones. Too many leaders believe their job is to speak first, to command, to show dominance by filling the room with their voice. They think leadership is about having all the answers ready at any moment. But the truth is, leaders who speak before listening often reveal not strength, but insecurity. They reveal that their ego needs to be heard, their pride needs validation. And in that rush to talk, they miss what truly matters. They miss the voices of their team. They miss the ideas that could make the mission stronger. And they miss the reality of what is happening around them. When leaders listen first, they gain understanding. They step back and observe not only the words spoken, but the emotions behind them. They notice the hesitation in someone's tone, the conviction in another's. They pick up details that ego-driven leaders ignore. Listening creates situational awareness. Just like on the battlefield, where silence often reveals more than noise, in leadership, the act of listening gives you the intelligence needed to act wisely. Without that intelligence, decisions are made in the dark, and those decisions can cost the mission, the team, and the trust of the people you lead. Listening also sends a message. It shows respect. It shows the team that their input matters. A leader who listens communicates to their people, you are valued, you are heard. You are not just a tool in this mission, you are part of it. That feeling builds trust and loyalty. People will give more effort, more honesty, and more dedication to a leader who listens than to one who constantly talks over them. Leadership is not about drowning out voices. It is about amplifying the right ones at the right time. There is also wisdom in silence. When leaders hold back their words, they create space for others to step in, and often that space reveals hidden talent. Someone in the room, someone who may not usually speak up, might offer a perspective that changes everything. Leaders who listen first give their team the chance to rise. They recognize that great ideas are not bound by rank or position. Wisdom can come from the new recruit, the intern, the youngest voice at the table. But only if the leader has the humility and patience to stay quiet long enough to hear it. Listening before speaking is also about control. Leaders who cannot stay silent reveal a lack of discipline. They react, they interrupt, they cut people off to push their own agenda. That is not leadership. That is ego. The disciplined leader restrains the impulse to dominate the conversation. They wait, they absorb, they weigh the facts. And when they finally speak, their words carry weight because they are informed by understanding. The less you speak, the more powerful your words become when you choose to use them. Another truth is that listening prevents mistakes. Leaders who assume they already know everything often make errors that could have been avoided if they had taken the time to hear others. Teams see problems from angles the leader cannot. They are on the ground, they experience the details, and they catch issues early. When a leader listens, those issues come to light before they grow into disasters. When a leader ignores input and speaks without listening, they walk straight into avoidable failures. Leaders who listen before speaking also model the behavior they expect. They set a standard. If the leader cuts people off, if they never listen, the team will mimic that culture. People will talk over each other, no one will feel heard, and collaboration will break down. But if the leader listens, the team learns to do the same. Listening becomes part of the culture, and that culture produces better communication, stronger teamwork, and greater unity toward the mission. Leaders listen before they speak because listening sharpens awareness, builds trust, reveals hidden strengths, and prevents failure. The act of listening is not a weakness, but one of the strongest tools a leader can possess because it ensures that when the time comes to speak, the words are not just noise, they are truth, direction, and clarity. Admit mistakes, own responsibility. Leadership is not about pretending to be flawless. It is not about protecting your pride by denying failure or shifting blame. A leader who refuses to admit mistakes creates a culture of fear, dishonesty, and weakness. When things go wrong, and they always will at some point, the team looks to the leader. If the leader dodges responsibility, points fingers, and blames others, the team learns a destructive lesson. Mistakes must be hidden, truth must be avoided, and accountability is something to run from. That kind of environment destroys trust and erodes effectiveness. Admitting mistakes requires courage. It takes strength to say the words, "I was wrong." Ego resists those words. Ego wants to protect the image of perfection, to maintain the illusion that the leader cannot fail. But the longer mistakes are denied, the greater the damage they cause. Small errors become big problems, and a leader who refuses to own responsibility loses credibility with every denial. The people who follow know the truth. They see the failure, they see the excuses, and they lose respect for the one who refuses to face it. Owning responsibility shifts the focus back where it belongs, on solutions. Instead of wasting time deflecting blame, the leader who admits mistakes can ask the right questions. What went wrong? Why did it happen? How do we fix it? What must we change so it does not happen again? This kind of honesty does not weaken the leader. It strengthens them. It shows that the leader values truth more than ego, mission more than pride. The team sees that mistakes are not the end, but an opportunity to learn, adjust, and improve. Taking responsibility also sets the standard. When leaders openly admit mistakes, the team follows that example. People stop hiding errors, they stop covering tracks, and they start owning up to failures quickly. That transparency accelerates progress. Problems are addressed early instead of festering in the shadows. Lessons are shared openly, so everyone learns instead of repeating the same errors in silence. Responsibility becomes a culture, not a punishment. And in that culture, growth thrives. There is another dimension to owning responsibility. It builds unbreakable trust. Teams will forgive mistakes. They will not forgive dishonesty. When leaders take the blame and shield their people, even when it hurts, the bond of trust becomes unshakable. The team knows their leader will stand in front when things go wrong, not hide behind them. That loyalty inspires teams to go further, fight harder, and stay committed because they know their leader is not looking to escape blame, but is willing to carry it. Admitting mistakes also keeps leaders grounded. Success can create arrogance. Victories can fuel the illusion that everything a leader does is right. That mindset blinds leaders to reality, and sooner or later, it leads to disaster. Admitting mistakes keeps humility alive. It reminds the leader that they are human, that they are fallible, that improvement is a lifelong pursuit. It keeps the focus on learning, on discipline, on staying sharp instead of becoming complacent. Owning responsibility requires discipline in every aspect. It means resisting the temptation to blame circumstances, the environment, or other people. It means refusing to make excuses even when they are available. Excuses may feel like relief in the moment, but they erode integrity in the long run. A leader who owns responsibility does not hide behind excuses. They say, "This happened. I made the call. I accept the outcome. Now let's move forward." That statement carries more weight and authority than any excuse ever could. Leadership is tested most in moments of failure. Anyone can lead when things are going well. The real test comes when the plan breaks, when the mission struggles, when mistakes happen. In that moment, the leader's response defines everything. Admitting mistakes and owning responsibility is not about looking weak. It is about demonstrating honesty, courage, and commitment to the team and the mission. It is about turning failure into fuel for growth and ensuring that the weight of responsibility rests where it belongs, on the shoulders of the leader. Put the mission above your pride. Pride is one of the greatest threats to effective leadership. It is the voice that tells you to protect your image, to defend your ego, to make decisions based not on what is best for the team, but on what makes you look good. Pride makes leaders selfish. It twists priorities. It causes leaders to dig in during arguments not because the mission demands it, but because their pride refuses to lose. That kind of pride blinds leaders to reality, blinds them to better options, and blinds them to the truth that leadership is never about personal victories. It is about the success of the mission. When leaders put pride first, they create division. They fight to be right rather than to do what is right. They dismiss good ideas because they did not come from them. They ignore warnings from the team because admitting someone else saw the problem first feels like weakness. Pride-driven leaders waste time proving themselves instead of improving the situation. In the end, they sacrifice the mission just to protect their ego, and the team suffers the consequences. Putting the mission above pride requires discipline. It means letting go of the need to win every argument. It means being willing to say, your idea is better than mine. Let's go with it. That takes humility, but it is the mark of a true leader. Leaders who put the mission first do not care about who gets credit. They care about results. They care about accomplishing the task, achieving the goal, and ensuring the team succeeds together. Credit does not matter when the mission is complete. The mission matters more than individual recognition. Putting the mission first also means making hard decisions that may bruise the ego. Sometimes it means admitting you were wrong, changing course, or scrapping a plan you personally created because a better one emerges. Pride resists that. Pride clings to flawed plans just to avoid embarrassment. But a leader who values the mission above pride can let go. They can pivot quickly, adapt, and move forward without hesitation. That kind of flexibility keeps the team alive, keeps momentum going, and keeps the mission on track. The mission above pride also applies to communication. A leader must be willing to listen more than they talk, to ask for input instead of pretending to have all the answers. Pride wants to dominate the room, but mission-focused leadership wants to gather the best information from every angle before deciding. That requires quieting the ego long enough to hear the truth, even if the truth is uncomfortable. Pride hates discomfort, but the mission demands it. Pride also shows up when it comes to recognition. Leaders who put pride first hoard credit, taking every victory as their own. But leaders who put the mission above pride push credit down to the team. They shine the spotlight on others because they know that victory was not theirs alone. It was the product of collective effort. This attitude builds loyalty, strengthens morale, and ensures the team is motivated to fight for the next mission. A leader who shares victory and accepts blame is one who truly embodies putting the mission first. When conflicts arise within a team, pride can turn them toxic. Leaders who take things personally let small issues grow into distractions. They make disputes about themselves instead of the larger goal. But leaders who prioritize the mission rise above petty battles. They settle disputes quickly, remind everyone of the bigger picture, and redirect energy back to what matters. Pride feeds conflict, mission focus resolves it. Pride resists accountability. It looks for excuses and external reasons when failure strikes. But when leaders put the mission above pride, they own every outcome. They stand in front when things go wrong, shielding the team and carrying the weight of responsibility. That act earns trust because the team knows their leader is not hiding behind ego, but is committed to protecting the mission and the people who fight for it. Putting the mission above pride is not natural. Pride will always fight to be heard, to be protected, to be satisfied. But the disciplined leader recognizes that pride is the enemy. The mission is greater than ego. The mission is greater than personal recognition. The mission is the reason leadership exists at all. Respect is earned through service. Leadership is not granted by a title, a position, or the stripes on a uniform. Authority may come with rank, but respect is something deeper, something that cannot be ordered or demanded. Respect is earned by action, by behavior, by the way a leader serves the people they are responsible for. Leaders who think respect is automatic because of their position misunderstand the essence of leadership. Real respect is built through sacrifice, through humility, and through service to the mission and the team. Service in leadership is not about serving yourself. It is about putting the needs of others first. It means ensuring your team has the resources they need before you take care of yourself. It means staying late to support someone struggling. It means stepping into the hard jobs instead of always delegating them. It means showing the people you lead that you are willing to carry weight, to share burdens, and to suffer alongside them. When a leader serves their team in this way, respect grows naturally. People do not just follow because they have to. They follow because they want to. Respect earned through service lasts. Fear may produce compliance, but it does not produce loyalty. A leader who rules by fear may see short-term results, but over time, the team erodes. Fear creates resentment, and resentment destroys trust. Service, on the other hand, builds loyalty. When the team sees their leader putting others before themselves, they give more effort, more commitment, and more honesty. They trust that their leader has their back, and in turn, they will give everything they have for the mission. Service also means protecting the team. Leaders take responsibility when things go wrong. They do not throw their people under the bus to protect their image. They shield their team from unnecessary blame. They take the hits and they carry the weight of failure. That act of service, absorbing the consequences for the sake of others, cements respect. The team knows their leader is not out for themselves, but is committed to the group as a whole. Another form of service is listening. Leaders who serve do not dismiss the voices of their team. They listen with patience, they seek input, and they make decisions that reflect the best ideas, not just their own. Listening communicates that the team matters, that every member has value. It is an act of service to put aside ego and truly hear others. And when people feel heard, respect is built stronger than any speech or command could ever achieve. Service requires humility. Leaders who serve do not see themselves as above the team, but as part of it. They recognize that their role is not to be worshipped, but to support and empower others. Humility in action might mean admitting when you do not know the answer, asking for help, or acknowledging that someone else has a better idea. These moments of humility show the team that their leader is human, approachable, and genuine. Respect grows when leaders are real, not when they pretend to be flawless. Service in leadership is also about consistency. A leader cannot serve only when convenient. The team watches daily actions. They see if the leader walks the talk, if they sacrifice consistently, if they show up when it matters most. Respect is not built in one moment, but in hundreds of small acts of service over time. Every decision, every action, every sacrifice adds up. And when the pattern is clear, that the leader always serves the mission and the team, respect becomes unshakable. Respect earned through service changes the culture of a team. It creates an environment where people support each other, where selfishness fades, and where the mission becomes more important than individual recognition. Leaders who serve set the example, and that example spreads. Others begin to lead in the same way, building a culture of service where respect flows in every direction. That is the kind of culture where teams thrive, where individuals grow, and where leadership is not about authority, but about responsibility. Humility builds trust. Trust wins battles. Leadership is not about pretending to have every answer or acting as if you are beyond mistakes. It is about showing honesty, admitting limitations, and creating an environment where people feel safe to contribute. Humility is the foundation of that environment. A leader who carries humility sends a clear message: I am not above you, I am with you. I will listen, I will learn, I will accept responsibility. That humility opens the door to trust, and trust is the weapon that carries teams through the hardest fights. Trust is not built through orders shouted louder or authority forced harder. It is built when people see consistency between what a leader says and what they do. Humility ensures that consistency. Leaders who admit mistakes and correct them show integrity. Leaders who listen to their team instead of shutting them down show respect. Leaders who serve rather than demand prove that they are invested in something bigger than themselves. Those actions, repeated over time, create trust. And once trust is established, the team is willing to follow the leader into any battle. Without humility, there is no trust. Arrogance destroys it. A leader who pretends to know everything leaves no room for others to contribute. When their plan fails, the team feels betrayed because they were never allowed to share their perspective. Pride-driven leaders push blame downward, making their people feel exposed and abandoned. That destroys confidence and loyalty. But when a leader acts with humility, owning responsibility, sharing credit, and respecting others, the opposite happens. The team feels secure, valued, and protected. That is the soil where trust grows strong. Humility also allows leaders to connect on a human level. Teams do not trust perfection, they trust authenticity. When leaders admit struggles, acknowledge challenges, and show that they too are learning, the team sees them as real. This realness eliminates the gap between leader and follower. People are more willing to commit when they know their leader understands what they are going through and is willing to face the same hardships. Humility bridges that gap, transforming leadership from command into connection. Trust built through humility directly translates into performance under pressure. In critical moments on the battlefield, in business or in life, the team must believe that their leader has their best interest at heart. They must trust that decisions are made for the mission, not for ego. That trust gives them confidence to execute orders without hesitation. It eliminates doubt and fear because they know the leader stands with them, not above them. Trust removes hesitation, and in any high-stakes environment, hesitation is what costs victories. Humility also strengthens communication. In a team where the leader lacks humility, people hold back. They hide mistakes, they suppress ideas, and they avoid speaking up. But in a culture of humility, honesty flows freely. The team shares problems quickly, knowing they won't be punished for telling the truth. They offer ideas openly, knowing they will be heard. This honesty gives leaders better information, sharper awareness, and stronger solutions. And better information is what wins battles. Trust born from humility also allows for resilience. Teams will make mistakes, missions will stumble, and plans will break. When trust exists, people rally back faster. They do not spend energy blaming each other. They do not doubt their leader's intentions. Instead, they regroup, adapt, and keep moving. Trust creates unity, and unity keeps momentum alive even in failure. That unity is only possible when humility leads the way. Every battle, whether physical, mental, or strategic, is won by teams that are aligned, disciplined, and committed to each other. That alignment only exists when trust is unshakable. And trust only becomes unshakable when the leader builds it with humility, brick by brick, through consistent actions that prove they value the mission and the people over themselves.